My wife's family thinks I'm the family ATM, they just found out I'm not. My wife's brother said, if you actually had ambition, my sister wouldn't have to settle for this lifestyle, at a family brunch yesterday, in front of everyone. I said, we're doing fine, and kept eating my eggs. What happened next made me realize I've been living in someone else's marriage for 3 years. Okay, so this happened and I'm still trying to wrap my head around it. Sorry if this is all over the place. Some background: I'm Ethan, 35, firefighter paramedic in Denver. Been on the job for 11 years. I love what I do. My wife Harper, 33, is an interior designer, freelance, works from home. We've been married 3 years, together for 5. Every Sunday we do brunch at her parents' house in Cherry Creek. It's like a thing, not optional. The whole family shows up: her parents, Mr. and Mrs. Whitaker, her brother Cole, 38, sometimes aunts and uncles. Very traditional family values vibe. Her dad's former military police, and you can tell. Yesterday's brunch started normal. We were eating, and Harper mentioned that my captain asked if I wanted to test for lieutenant. It's a promotion, more money, different hours, leadership role. I've been thinking about it all week. Cole jumped in immediately. Finally. About time you moved up, man. How much more money we talking? I explained that, yeah, it's more money, but it comes with rotating shifts, 60 to 72-hour weeks sometimes, way less predictable schedule. Right now I work 2 24-hour shifts a week. I know my days off. I can plan around them. I told Captain I'm good where I am, I said. The work-life balance matters more to me right now. The table went quiet. Not a good quiet, Cole laughed. That fake laugh people do when they think you said something stupid. Work-life balance, dude, you're 35. This is when you're supposed to be grinding, building something. Harper's dad chimed in. Cole's right. Man needs to pursue excellence. That's how you provide. I tried to explain, we're doing fine financially. We own our house, small 3-bedroom in Lakewood, nothing fancy, but it's ours. Mortgage is manageable, my truck's paid off. We've got 6 months' expenses in our emergency fund. We're comfortable. Mrs. Whitaker did that thing where she smiles but her eyes don't. Comfortable isn't the same as thriving, dear. Then Cole delivered the line that's been stuck in my head for 24 hours. If you actually had ambition, my sister wouldn't have to settle for this lifestyle. I looked at Harper, waiting for her to say something. Anything? She looked down at her plate. He has a point, Ethan. If you aimed a little higher, we wouldn't be stuck living like this. Maybe you should think about it. I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach. I just stared at her. What did she even mean, stuck? The rest of brunch was them basically planning my career for me, how I should take the test, how the extra money could elevate our lifestyle, how a man should always be striving for more. On the drive home, I brought up how uncomfortable that made me. Harper said, they just want what's best for us. You should listen. They don't even know what's best for us, I said. That's our decision. They're family, Ethan. They're just trying to help. That's when it hit me. This isn't new. This has been happening the whole marriage. Let me give you examples. Last year, Cole's girlfriend wanted to do a wine weekend in Napa for her birthday. Family trip, they called it. Somehow I ended up being volunteered to cover half of the vacation rental, $2,400. When I hesitated, Harper told me it would be rude not to contribute since we're all family. When we bought our house 2 years ago, Harper's parents insisted we needed to keep the formal living room empty as a family suite for when they visit. No furniture, just an air mattress and space for their stuff. I wanted to make it my home office. I've got paramedic certifications to maintain, paperwork, study space. Family comes first, Harper said. So now I do all my work at the kitchen table, and Mrs. Whitaker knows our emergency fund balance, down to the dollar, because Harper tells her everything. We're an open family, Harper explained when I found out. No secrets. I've tried setting boundaries before. Every time it's the same response. You're being difficult. They mean well. This is how close families work. Tonight on the couch, yeah, I'm sleeping here. I'm wondering, am I a husband or am I an ATM with a firefighter uniform? Reddit, please tell me if I'm overreacting. Is this normal? Are boundaries in marriage supposed to include your in-laws knowing your bank balance and planning your career? Edit, a lot of you are asking why I've let this go on. Honestly, I kept thinking it would get better. that once we were established they'd back off. I see now that was naive. To clarify, Harper earns decent money from her design work, but it's inconsistent. Some months great, some slow. That's why I've always been okay being the stable income. I didn't realize I'd also become the stable wallet for her entire family. I thought I was marrying Harper. Turns out I might have married the whole Whittaker clan. Update 1. 2 weeks later. Thanks for all your responses on my first post. I read every single one. A lot of you said I needed to get my shit together and set a harder boundary. Here's what happened when I tried. Cole's girlfriend's birthday dinner happened. The incident. Mrs. Whittaker called Harper 3 days after the brunch blow up. Reservation for 8 at Guard and Grace. That's a high-end steakhouse downtown. My stomach dropped when Harper told me because I knew what was coming. Don't worry, Harper said. It's just dinner. Who's paying? I asked. We'll figure it out there. I'd learned what figure it out meant. It meant someone would grab the check at the end, look uncomfortable, and then everyone would look at me. The morning of the dinner, I told Harper directly, I'm paying only for our 2 meals, that's it. If anyone has a problem with that, we can skip it. She looked at me like I'd suggested we rob the place. Ethan, you can't be serious. I'm very serious. We can afford to pay for us. I'm not paying for everyone. They're going to think you're cheap. Then they're welcome to think that. We went back and forth for 20 minutes. Finally, Harper said fine, but I was making this weird. At the restaurant, I said it again, clearly, right as we sat down, just so everyone knows up front, Harper and I are covering our 2 meals tonight. Want to make that clear from the start. You could have heard a pin drop. Cole laughed it off. Jesus, man, nobody expects you to pay for everything. But his eyes said different. Mrs. Whittaker's face did that tight smile thing. Of course, dear, everyone pays their own way. The whole dinner had this weird tension, passive-aggressive comments about some people being more generous than others. Story about Harper's ex-boyfriend who apparently always picked up the tab. Cole talking loudly about his quarterly bonus. When the check came, the server put it in the middle of the table. I waited. Nobody moved. Finally, I pulled out my card, looked at our 2 entrees on the bill, did the math with tip, and said, we're $94.67 with our share. I'll put in $100. I placed my card and 2 50s on the tray. Cole's jaw literally dropped. Mrs. Whittaker looked at Harper like she was supposed to fix this. Mr. Whittaker shook his head and pulled out his own wallet. On the drive home, Harper absolutely laid into me. You embarrassed me. You embarrassed us. I did exactly what I said I was going to do. They think you're petty. They think you don't care about family. They think I'm an open wallet. I'm correcting that assumption. They've accepted you, Ethan, she screamed. Do you know how lucky you are? Dad doesn't accept just anyone. I stared at her. Accepted me? Is this supposed to be a test or something? Besides, they don't even know me. They just know I have a steady paycheck. That's not fair, isn't it? Name one time in 3 years your family has asked about my interests, my actual life, what I care about. She couldn't. Then she said something that made everything crystal clear. Blood is thicker than water. They accepted you into this family. The least you can do is contribute. Contribute, that's the word you chose. You know what I mean. Do I? Because it sounds like you see me as a funding source. Don't be dramatic. Harper, serious question. If you had to choose between making your family happy and respecting your husband, which would you pick? She didn't even hesitate. Family, they've been there my whole life. I just drove, didn't say another word. My hands were shaking. When we got home, I packed a bag, told her I was staying at my buddy Jard's place for a while. She started crying almost immediately, saying I was overreacting, that she didn't mean it that way. You said family. You could have said your family too. But you didn't, you meant them. Ethan, please, I need space. We both need to think about what this marriage actually is. I'm writing this from Jard's guest room. I've been here a week. I opened a separate checking account today, took my name off our joint credit card, set up all my direct deposits to go to the new account. Harper's been texting constantly. Her mom showed up at my fire station yesterday. The chief had to ask her to leave. Her dad called me this morning. His exact words, "A man sacrifices for his wife's family. That's what men do." I hung up. I have a consultation with a divorce attorney tomorrow. Not saying I'm definitely going that route, but I need to know what my options are. Colorado is a no-fault state. I've been doing research. Some of you asked in the comments if I ever put my foot down before. Honest answer: no, not really. I thought compromising meant being a good partner. I thought keeping the peace was what you did in marriage. I was wrong. Keeping the peace just meant I was the only one being quiet. Edit 1. To answer some questions, yes, Harper has her own income. But her parents have been helping her with car payments and phone bills. I'm realizing now those helps came with strings. And no, we don't have kids. Thank God. Update 2. 1 month after first post, you guys, this escalated. I don't even know where to start. The last 2 weeks have been a masterclass in what therapists call flying monkeys. That's when someone sends other people to harass you on their behalf. Harper's family went full air raid. It started small. Text from Harper: "You're having a midlife crisis. You're not thinking clearly. Come home so we can talk." Then Cole called, said he wanted to talk man to man. Told me I was throwing away a good thing over pride. That real men bend for their families. When I didn't respond to either of them, Mrs. Whitaker showed up at the fire station, again, during shift change. She tried to walk right into the bay. My lieutenant intercepted her. "Ma'am, this is a fire station, not a family counseling center." She stood in the parking lot for 20 minutes crying until she finally left. I watched from the second floor window, felt nothing. That scared me a little, the feeling nothing part. Last Tuesday, Harper sent me a long email. Subject line: compromise proposal. Here's what her compromise was. Her family will try to stop asking me to pay for things. Direct quote: "Try. In exchange, I move back home and participate more willingly in family decisions. I stop shutting them out. We make all major decisions, travel, purchases, career moves together with input from both families." Both families. Like my parents have had any say in our marriage. I replied with one question: "Will anyone in your family apologize for the financial manipulation and constant disrespect of my career?" Her response: "What's even there to apologize for? They were trying to help you be better. You're taking it the wrong way." So no. The answer is no. That's when I started digging, really digging. I pulled up every bank statement from the last 3 years. Highlighted every time I paid for something family-related that wasn't explicitly agreed upon beforehand. The Napa trip, $2,400 bridal shower for Cole's girlfriend, $600 I didn't even go, family suite furnishings that somehow I paid for, $890 Cole's car payment when he was between commissions, $1,200, I never got that back, anniversary dinner for Harper's parents, $340. Christmas gifts for extended Whitakers that I didn't choose, $1,800 total, $7,230 in 3 years. That doesn't count the smaller stuff. The "can you grab the check" moments. The family emergency Venmo requests. But here's the thing that made my blood run cold. I found emails. Harper's email was still logged in on our shared iPad. I was looking for a recipe she'd sent me, but the search results showed other stuff. Email from Harper to her mom 2 years ago. Subject: E's truck. "Mom, Ethan's thinking about getting a new truck. The F-150 he wants is $38K. Should I talk him into the cheaper Ranger? That would save us $12K and we could use that for the remodel you mentioned." The remodel you mentioned. Not our remodel. Hers. Another email last year. "Emergency fund is at $23,400 now. E's good about not touching it. I'm thinking we could pull $5K for the family trip to Cabo if we're careful." My emergency fund. They were planning to use my emergency fund for a vacation I didn't even know about. I just sat there staring at the iPad. My hands weren't even shaking. I was just numb. I called the bank, changed all passwords, removed Harper as joint on the emergency account, moved that money to my new account at a different bank entirely. Then I did something I never thought I'd do. I started therapy. First session was 3 days ago. She asked me, "In the 3 years of your marriage, can you name a single major decision where your opinion was genuinely prioritized?" I sat there for the full 5 minutes of silence she gave me. I couldn't think of one. Not one. "That's not a marriage," she said quietly. "That's a hostage situation with paperwork." Meanwhile, the flying monkeys kept coming. Mr. Whitaker literally sent me an email with the subject line, "What Real Men Do." It was a manifesto about sacrifice, duty, and how I was failing as a husband, how his generation didn't run away when things got hard. Mrs. Whitaker texted, "We forgive you. Just come back and things can go back to normal." Normal. Like that's what I want. The one that broke me was Harper's call last night. She was crying, really crying, said she couldn't afford the mortgage and car payment on her own, that her parents were helping, but it was humiliating. But hearing her cry on the phone now, and all I could feel was just exhaustion. "I can't do this alone, Ethan." "You're not alone, you have your whole family." "That's not the same, they're helping, but it's different when it's charity." And there it was, the real issue. Not that she missed me, not that she loved me, she needed my income, my stability, my consistent, boring, unambitious paycheck. "Harper, be honest with me. Did you ever love me, or did you just love what I provided?" Long silence. "That's not fair. Answer the question." "I can't believe you'd ask me that." "That's not an answer." She hung up. Today I met with my attorney again, filed for legal separation. In Colorado, we can do a separation decree before divorce. It legally divides finances, establishes living arrangements, and gives us time to figure out if we want to actually end things. Harper will get the papers next week. I also closed the joint credit card, called the company, explained the situation, paid off the balance, and shut it down. Harper's been added as an authorized user on her parents' card now, I heard. Good. They can fund their own daughter. My guys at the station have been amazing. They don't ask too many questions, just check in. "You good? You need anything?" Beer after shift. I've been spending time with Jard and his people too. Turns out Jard's girlfriend has a sister who went through something similar. "We had coffee yesterday," she said. "The trash took itself out. Now you just have to stop checking the dumpster." I laughed for the first time in weeks. Edit. Some of you are saying I should have tried marriage counseling first. We did, 8 months ago. The therapist said we needed to establish boundaries with extended family. Harper canceled the next 3 appointments and we never went back. I should have seen that as a sign. No, I don't think Harper's evil. I think she was raised in a family that operates like a hive mind and she genuinely doesn't see the problem. That doesn't make it okay, but it means she's probably not capable of changing without wanting to, and she doesn't want to. Final update, 3 months after original post. I'm writing this from my new apartment. Well, new, I've been here 6 weeks. It's a short-term rental near the station. Small, quiet mine. A lot has happened since the last update. Some of it is exactly what you'd expect. Some of it surprised even me. Harper and I signed the separation agreement 3 weeks ago. It's official. Here's what it says. Separate finances. Neither of us can make claims on the other's income during separation. No sharing financial information with third parties without written consent. We each took what we brought into the marriage plus half of joint purchases. I kept the truck, she kept her car, both paid off, so clean split. House is being sold, neutral party realtor, split proceeds 50-50. The house listing went live last week. Already have 2 offers. It's a seller's market in Denver right now. There's a clause in the agreement that I insisted on. No unauthorized contact from extended family members. Harper's parents can't call me, visit me, or show up at my workplace. If they do, it's considered harassment under the agreement. Guess who showed up at my station 4 days after we signed? Mrs. Whitaker. She tried to walk right in again. My chief personally escorted her out and handed her a copy of the separation agreement with that clause highlighted. She hasn't been back. The karma, or whatever you want to call it, remember Cole, Mr. You Need Ambition. His company did an audit of team building expenses. Turns out he'd been putting personal charges on the company card and categorizing them as client entertainment. They're investigating. He's on administrative leave. The family group chat, which I'm obviously not part of but word travels, is apparently in crisis mode. Suddenly he's not available to throw money around or brag about his bonus checks. Harper moved back in with her parents temporarily. Apparently, she's discovering what it's like to pay for her own phone bill, and car insurance, and gas, and health insurance. She was on my plan through work. Her design business has slowed down because she used to do a lot of family rate work for Whitaker relatives. Now they expect her to work for free since she's home anyway. She's pushing back. They're not happy. Apparently there was a screaming match about it at last Sunday's brunch. I almost feel bad. Almost. As for me, I'm doing okay. Better than okay some days. I'm back to regular shifts. The routine helps. I actually signed up for a trauma counseling course that the city offers for first responders. It's something I'd wanted to do for years but never had time for. Turns out I had time. I just wasn't allowed to use it. The training comes with a pay bump too. Not promotion money, but decent. And it's work I actually care about. Helping other firefighters and paramedics process the heavy stuff we see. That matters more to me than any lieutenant position ever would. And I set up a home office in my new place. Desk, good chair, organized files, certification books on shelves. It's small, but it's mine. Nobody's telling me it needs to be a family suite. Looking back, I can see how it happened. Slowly. One small compromise at a time. One family obligation that wasn't a big deal. Death by 1,000 cuts, except I was handing them the knife. The thing I keep coming back to is this. Marriage is supposed to be a team of two. If one person keeps passing the ball to the bleachers, you're not playing the same game anymore. You're not even on the same field. I wanted a partner. Harper wanted a provider who came with a family membership card. Someone asked in the comments if I'd ever get married again. Honest answer, I don't know. Right now I'm figuring out who I am outside of someone else's expectations. I'm not apologizing anymore for wanting a simple, stable life. I like my job. I don't want to climb the ladder just to prove something to people who don't respect me anyway. I want to go home after shift, cook dinner, maybe watch a game, and not have to perform ambition for an audience. That's not settling. That's knowing what I value. I'm standing in my tiny apartment with a second-hand couch and a coffee maker that only makes coffee, and I feel more at home than I did in 3 years in that house in Lakewood. That tells me everything I need to know. Thanks, Reddit, seriously. A lot of you gave me the push I needed to see this clearly. I'm working on choosing myself now. It's harder than I thought, but I'm getting there. Edit. Some of you asked if Harper ever apologized. No, not once. She's still in the you overreacted phase. Maybe she'll get to understanding eventually. Maybe not. Either way, it's not my problem to fix anymore. Edit 2. Someone asked if Harper's family ever got the social media involved because of course they would. Yeah, Harper's mom did make an Instagram post, and I saw it. It got around real fast. It was a quote about family loyalty and forgiveness with a picture of Harper looking sad. The comments were, interesting. Lots of praying for you, and some people don't understand family. But also a surprising number of people saying things like boundaries are healthy and you can love family and still have limits. The tide's shifting, even in their circles. The top comment from someone I didn't recognize. Supporting your adult children means teaching them to be good partners, not teaching them to take. Mrs. Whitaker deleted the post 6 hours later. I'm closing comments now. This chapter is done. I've said everything I need to say. Time to see what's on the other side.